Okay guys, welcome back to another video of the Film Guy. It's been a long time since I last did something in English. I think there was the Trexation talks about Harry Potter thing, and right now I've gotten inspired and I wanted to do a little podcast again. I think that's called a podcast when you just, put up a picture and you just talk without having any kind of visual divergence in the video. Okay, right, whatever. Let's talk about TV shows, because that's a thing that people have asked me a lot since the dawn of time, as you may put it. TV shows. What is it with fucking TV shows? First of all, I called my show or my channel The Film Guy because I'm going to focus on films, and solely on films, because I think movies are what shows are not. They're closed stories where a lot of effort has to be put in, like in a very restricted time frame, like 2 hours to 3 hours, maybe 1.5 hours, and a show has got a lot more time to fill with a lot less money to put in every single frame. So I think movies are a little bit more interesting and a lot less time consuming. So I think, movies kind of have the upper hand. But nevertheless, let's talk about TV shows. We have to delve into the past for this one, because, I was exposed to TV shows as a kid, of course. I watched the Smurfs, I watched DuckTales, of course, I watched Darkwing Duck, and I also watched like these animes that kind of got screwed over now by corporate shit. Pokémon and of course Digimon. I watched that all. I even got like the card collections, and I bought the stickers, and I even went to the Digimon, the movie. I kind of liked the movie. I haven't seen it in like 5 or 6 years, so I maybe should give it another try, and maybe I will hate it now, I don't know. But I think it was a pretty decent movie, and also the show, like the first 2 seasons were pretty decent, and then they kind of got carried away by stuff. And okay, let's not get even started on Pokemon. This is the same fucking episode every time, and I'm sick of it. I don't really like anime. They drag everything out. They drag every fucking they drag every show out. The best example, despite it being alright, and despite it being very entertaining in its own right, the Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Z show was kind of the pacing kill of all eternity, because there's one episode where we're just flying around, the green guy and Son Goku, or I think it's just called Goku in the English one, and just flying around and going like and there's some voiceovers and there's some stupid monologuing, and then the episode is over, and we get like, next time on Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, okay, fuck you, that's way to go to extend your show to like almost 300 episodes. And I know there's a recut coming out soon. It's basically the same show with all the filler cut out. So maybe that's kind of interesting now. I don't know. Shows in the 90s weren't really all that bad. I really enjoyed a lot of them. And okay, let's start with live action, because let's be honest, that's what we're all watching right now. No one's watching My Little Pony, for fuck's sake. But in its defense, My Little Pony is a very entertaining show. I watched it. I'm on my way of becoming an English teacher and also history teacher here in Germany, and from time to time I just switch on kids shows to see where the trend of kids shows is going, and oh man, I'm disappointed and scratching my head, and this is just ridiculous. The amount of stupidity that's going into kids shows nowadays is just horrendous. There's no moral, there's no ethics, there's little to no plot. It's just a bunch. It's just a bunch of silly shit. To be honest, it's just a bunch of silly shit. And then I just, out of the blue, I just watched this show called My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, and it was really good. Yeah, it was really good. It had a lot of the Disneyisms in it. You know, it had moral. I think it had songs. I don't know. I just watched the first 3 episodes, and even the pilot episode was like a 1-hour show with a great arc. You know, all the ponies, they have arcs in this, and I was like, damn it. Someone actually put effort into a fucking kids show. I can't believe it. Yeah, okay, so let's go to live action. There are 2 sides here, right? There are the good sides and the bad sides. But let's start from the beginning. The first time I've watched a live action show was probably in the late 90s. I was born in 1991, so I can be called a 90s kid because, you know, once I was like 5 or 6, I just got into that whole culture. I got a Tamagotchi. I watched Jurassic Park. I even watched Independence Day and Men in Black when they came out because my parents were so generous. And you know, in 1997 or 1998, 1999. There were these shows on German television, Full House, for example. I know Full House is the utmost whitewashed show there ever was, and there will ever be. I liked it. Come on, sorry, I was 8, I was 7, I was 8, and I really enjoyed this show because it was, you know, it was a good time. But, you know, if I would watch it now, no would in the if clause, if I were to watch it now, I would just, you know, I would hate myself. And I do. Because this show is not really well written or well made. The jokes are bland, the characters are really, really white, and there is close to no redeeming quality. Okay, there is the kick-ass theme song, but, you know, whatever, let's not get carried away. Okay, there were other shows starting in the late 90s. One show I really got myself into was Stargate SG-1. You know, the movie, I haven't seen it. I hadn't seen it like till 2004 or something. So I was only watching the show, and I didn't even know there was a movie by Roland Emmerich out there that kind of started the whole thing. The show Stargate was pretty fucking awesome, and it went on, you know, to be one of the most successful science fiction shows up to this day. 10 seasons with, you know, each of, you know, like 20 episodes. It's a huge amount of episodes, and the story never got really, you know, boring, because they kind of did something new every new season, and it was fresh, you know, that was very entertaining to watch, and I liked it. And also the characters, Richard Dean Anderson, Amanda Tapping, Chris Judge, Michael Shanks, and of course the late Don Ness Davis, and of course later on Claudia Black and Beau Bridges, and what's his face, Ben Browder. They all did a fabulous job, I think. Of course, I enjoy the old team more than I do like I call it the reboot team, like, because they changed it around in season 9 and 10. Richard Dean Anderson left the show, and Don S. Davis also left the show. You know, unfortunately he died, you know, shortly after that, and they replaced the general and the SG-1 leader with Ben Browder and Beau Bridges. They both did a fine job at portraying their new characters, but it just wasn't the same. And maybe I had some nostalgic goggles on or something. I mean, it wasn't the same. I don't like the reboot team as much as I did the original. And what made this show so fascinating and so good, you know, it was sci-fi, but it was the right... Okay, sci-fi is separated in Star Wars and Star Trek. the ones that blow shit up, and the ones that argue about blowing shit up. And this show is kinda in the middle, in between the two, because we have the awesome science fantasy action from Star Wars, and we have the political dialogues from Star Trek. So Stargate really kind of reinvented the whole science fiction genre, because there was time for silly and stupid America action, you know, with just thriving away on spaceships and just shooting lots of bad guys in one scene, like with a giant huge ass fucking machine gun going like you know. And in the next episode they were just sitting on the table, around the table, and discussing why this planet should have water in the first place, and the indigenous people are not that great. You know, there are the two kinds of episodes on this show, and it wasn't really a tone killer, because it was very well crafted and well written, and we had the four main characters, you know, to kind of follow around, and they made both scenarios believable. And I think that's really everything you can ask for. Yeah. You know, that started in the 90s and ended in the mid-2000s, and it was a great show. Another show that I watched when, you know, I didn't really pay much attention to them till like 2004 maybe, and it was like their second to last year, Friends. Okay, I once did a video comparing Friends to How I Met Your Mother, and don't get me wrong, I don't hate How I Met Your Mother. I just think it is a rip-off, not really homage, but really a rip-off of the original show Friends. In case you're wondering what I mean by that, just watch my video about it. That would be great. So, Friends is basically about a group of friends in New York, and they experience everyday shit, and it's entertaining. It's entertaining as hell to watch. And they did it for over 10 seasons, and I recently rewatched seasons 1 and 2, and I laughed my ass off, and I really did. There is no comparison to How I Met Your Mother, because when you watch the old episodes now, you're just like giggle, and ha. But no, I was really laughing out loud at the episodes of Friends, and it's not even my generation. That's the weird thing, because if you be like nitpicky about it, How I Met Your Mother is my generation's Friends. It's even on the box art of the first season. Well, at least it's here in Germany. There it says, the Friends of the next century or something. Yeah, but I prefer Friends, because it's the show. Yeah, I often get shit for that, because I say Friends is the best sitcom ever made. Please don't hate me right now. No, Friends had some of the greatest dialogue ever put on paper in a sitcom, and what separates old sitcoms from new sitcoms. Nowadays they have a digital laugh track, and I hate digital laugh tracks, because you can always distinguish what's what. And the old shows, they had real live audience. They had people reacting to what they were saying. It was basically just like a fucking play, and it worked out, because, you know, the characters, the actors even showed, you know, that emotion, and they were reacting to each other's utterances like real people do. And they tried, and they obviously reshot things, and they had to like fake up the laughter a bit, like after take 11 or 12. But there are even some kind of reaction shots within the actual show, within the final edit, where we see like characters of the show just kind of burst out laughing, because they actually burst out laughing. And that's something the new shows are lacking, you know, humanity and all that stuff. It's just a well-crafted product, and that's it. The new shows are more like a showcase for the writers of this show, especially How I Met Your Mother. You know, season 9 is a pretentious bulk of filler, and it's basically a giant cock tease, and in the end they're just slapping us in the face with 40 minutes of come on. The finale was really disappointing and an insult to everything this show stood for and hold dear, so way to go. They actually accomplished something that no other show has accomplished. It wasn't really hard to let go, you know? Maybe that was their goal. Hey, let's make the guys hate the show. Let's make them hate the show. Let's make a stupid ending. And there will be no hard feelings. And they were hated. And they won't miss it after the finale airs. Whatever. This is stupid. This is fucking stupid. Because now, when you're watching How I Met Your Mother episodes right now, you're just always being reminded of this ending and how everything you watch right now, whether it's season 1, 4, or 6, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with the end of the show. The giant build-up is building up to nothing, much like Lost. Lost was the show by J.J. Abrams and Damien Lindelof. Lindelof is currently raping Hollywood screenplays, so you got that going for him. And J.J. Abrams is going to direct the new Star Wars, and he did some Star Trek reboots, and they were entertaining. I loved Super 8, and I also liked the Mission Impossible 3 installment. That was his directorial debut, I think. You know, and before that, he did Lost. And Lost started out great, and it turned into a giant piece of shit and a giant schlockfest. Because that was the same problem. Because they built up so much. The build-up was so huge, and they just tried to put everything in there. Just shoved all the shit they could find in those episodes. And it got weirder and weirder and more weirder. From every episode to even all the seasons, and they have to move the island in order to travel to time and space, and the island is basically just a giant machine, and there are these numbers, and in the end they all died in the plane crash, and everything is just in their minds, and it's all purgatory. You know, what's the ending of a show done worst? I think that's it. That's the worst kind of ending to a show. You know, there's this thing about, how to write a Hollywood screenplay. There are 2 things you have to keep in mind. Like the golden rules. Actually, there are more golden rules, but there are like 10 golden rules of screenwriting. But I'll give you 2. First of all, you never start your movie with an alarm clock going off. And you never end a movie with, it was all a dream. And the third one is, give the audience 2 + 2, but never give them 4. And I think that's the dream equivalent. Oh, you all died in the plane crash in the first episode. And it's all purgatory from here. So the writers can do whatever the fuck they want. And I think there was a huge disappointment. Well, not for me personally, because I stopped watching the show after season 3 aired. And I said, shit's getting too weird for me. And I just stopped watching it, and other people were really adamant about watching the show, and they were all saying, oh my god, this is going to lead to something huge. And it was just bullshit in the end. And now let's talk about current shows, because that's what you're here for, right? Let's talk about the Big Bang Theory. A whole universe? Yeah, this show has the same problem like 2.5 Men does. 2.5 Men is this show that has closed storylines in every episode that do not affect like a main plot. There's no main story like in How I Met Your Mother or maybe Friends, because those shows evolved where Big Bang Theory and 2.5 Men don't really evolve, sorry. And okay, I cannot say that for sure because I haven't watched a lot of Big Bang Theory episodes. But isn't it like the only thing that changes in the show are the interactional relationships between the characters? Like it's all, oh, he's together with her now, and he's together with her now, and that's pretty much it. I know the one guy went to space, and there was also a marriage coming up or something, and then they tried to end the show, but then the characters, the actors got greedy, and they said, oh, no, let's continue the show. And now they're filming season 9, I think, season 9? I don't know, I haven't checked. And with horrendous money put out for the characters, for the actors, damn it! And I think the same thing can be adapted to Two and a Half Men, because Charlie Sheen was and is, and will always be, the most interesting media figure of the last 20 years. I don't really think there is a difference between Charlie Harper and Charlie Sheen. What makes the show so great, because you cannot really separate between the two. Are you watching the Sheen or the Harper right now? And then there was this whole scandal with coke addiction, and with his parties, and he OD'd, almost OD'd, and he was banging 7-gram rocks, and then Chuck Lorre kicked him out, and they replaced him with Ashton Kutcher, which was the most stupidest decision of all time. First of all, you cannot replace Charlie, and second of all, you do not replace him with Ashton Kutcher. Jesus. And then the son of the John Cryer character quit or something, and now we have the girl, and now it's even not 2.5 men, it's 2 men and 1 girl, and that just sounds sick. And then they said, oh, we're getting Charlie Sheen back for the season's finale. And everybody was like, come on, we don't care anymore. And now the show is about to be cancelled, and no one gives a flying fuck about 2.5 Men anymore. I don't blame them, they're where they belong. Going back to the Big Bang Theory, I think the Big Bang Theory did something new and original to the sitcom genre. They put the nerds in it, they put the whole subgenre, the comic theme, the movie theme, and there's a lot of humor that is not mainstream. And the show, despite having all these special gizmos, the show is successful nonetheless, and that's fascinating, and I like it. Because I could have never, if someone said to me like, oh, there's a show about these guys wearing Flash costumes, and they say, may the Force be with you, and they fight with giant lightsabers on their couch, and I said, okay, that's like a special episode, like once in a while. I was like, no, that's the whole show. And they talk about comics, and they talk about Star Trek, and they talk about everything that is nerdy, and they also have like really scientific plot devices in their script segments. Like they're talking about Schrodinger's cat, and they're talking about E equals mc square, and what Einstein said about relativity, and they also talk about quantum physics and how black holes work. And yeah, I would have said, really? And people are going to watch that? And what do you know, it's one of the most successful shows ever. Applause to that, really. Kudos. This is a very bold, that was a very bold undertaking, and they succeeded. They succeeded. Holy shit, they succeeded. We have to talk about the non-comedy shows, don't we? I loved The Sopranos. I watched The Sopranos, and I also watched some episodes of Breaking Bad. I watched some episodes of Game of Thrones, and I also watched Rome. I also watched some episodes of Spartacus, and I watched some episodes, the first season of The Walking Dead. Problem with all these shows is, it's a show. and it's not a confined, not a short amount of time. You know, time is short, and we're all going to fucking die, and I'm not going to say it's a waste of time, don't get me wrong, it's not. It's not a waste of time to watch these shows. But it's, I've watched like 3 episodes of Game of Thrones, and it was going like nowhere, and I don't get the hype. I'm sorry, I just don't. It's just a silly show. I think the books, the novels, are way better than the actual show. I'm just getting a feel of that. The Walking Dead, it started out great because it looked like a film. It really looked like a film. The first season was pretty good, and then, you know, a second season and third season, you know, they're all just hanging out on this farm and talking about having bad gas. I don't know, they're talking about redundant things in every episode, and once in a while a character gets killed off, just like that, and that's supposed to be drama. I'm not a great fan of The Walking Dead. I was, however, a great fan of Desperate Housewives. I can say that, because that was the first American show to really incorporate the British humor. I think, you know, this morbid and very mean humor. I really loved the humor in this show. It was unreal. I just say it. I loved Desperate Housewives. Breaking Bad is a very well-made show, but I don't have time to watch it. You know, I watched like 4 or 5 episodes. They came late at night on a German TV channel, and without commercials. Fuck yes. And I watched it like basically like this 4-hour fucking amazing movie about this guy making crystal meth and saying, "Damn right." I love Bryan Cranston. He's a great actor. There should be a lot more Bryan Cranston in cinemas. Which brings me actually to Malcolm in the Middle. Watched it. Was disappointed. It wasn't really that good. This show kind of feels sticky and disgusting and dirty and ugly, you know. Those are the adjectives that pop into my mind when I'm talking about Malcolm in the Middle. I'm sorry. Going back to Breaking Bad, I enjoy the concept, I enjoy the acting. Cinematography and production design are off the chain. It's very, very well made. But I don't have time to watch it because I have so much other shit on my plate. I'm very, very sorry. Maybe sometime in the distant future, when my studies are complete and I'm a teacher and I have like 2 weeks off or something, I'm going to fucking watch every Breaking Bad episode there is. Maybe. Okay, so what show did I miss? Because I don't really have a script here. I'm just talking into a microphone and just looking around in my room, and just things pop into my mind. Oh, X-Files. X-Files. Have you ever seen X-Files? It's the show that inspired the rip-off Fringe. X-Files was a great show. You know, they also made a movie, and this second movie, which was like, okay, the second one was weird. It had no right to exist other than to generate a couple of bucks for the studio. But the show itself was very entertaining. The 2 leads just killed it. And the stories, come on, it was just so different. It was a crime show. It was a crime drama, essentially, but with supernatural plots and, you know, extraterrestrials and guys that could, you know, shrink themselves into tiny whatever. The possibilities are endless in this genre. You know, it's horror, it's fantasy, it's science fiction, it's crime, it's drama, it's even comedy. This show has everything going for it. Of course, there are these oddball episodes where you're just like, oh my god, I literally cannot even now. But the majority of the episodes were really, really great. And I have them here on DVD, and I watch them, you know, from time to time. And I also recognize there are a lot of stars in these episodes. Like there was one episode with Bryan Cranston, and I said, "Oh my God, I know this dude. that's fucking Bryan Cranston." Okay, what shows did I miss and I haven't talked about yet? Scrubs. I liked Scrubs. Oh, let's go to the Doctor's Lounge for a couple of minutes. Let's talk about Scrubs, House, Emergency Room, Grey's Anatomy, and okay, let's drop Grey's Anatomy because I have watched like 4 episodes of Grey's Anatomy. They were all weird because, you know, only doctors died and not the patients. Maybe that was just me. Scrubs, they had 8 great seasons, and then there was this 9th season was called Scrubs Med School, and no one gave a shit about it. You cannot expect audiences to watch a show that, you know, with the entire cast being switched. There are certain things you just don't do. And one of them is switching the entire fucking cast. You know, who was left? John C. McGinley? And maybe Donald Faison? I don't know. You just don't do it. Scrubs had a very nice framing. You know, this guy always monologuing, and of course there were like shit episodes, and there were good episodes, and there were great episodes. Really, really great episodes. And they had great guest stars. I will always remember the Michael J. Fox shows. There were like 3 episodes where he, despite of being, you know, very sick with his Parkinson's disease. Despite of that, he showed up and he did 3 episodes, and he was great. He was amazing in these 60 minutes. You know, the show had great humor, and all these fantasy bits that JD is delving into. They were fun, but also the real stuff, the interaction, you know, between the characters. That was great. And also Sarah Chalke is pretty damn hot. So it was fun to watch her. You know, the show was fine. You know, this is not really a show to get upset about. They did good, and they did good for 8 years. And I cried like a bitch in the end because it was very, very well crafted. That was a good ending. But then they decided, no, let's make another season. And the fans just said no. Which brings us to House MD, which is called Dr. House in Germany here. Here comes, it's basically just Sherlock Holmes with sickness. There's Dr. House, he's Sherlock Holmes, and he has Dr. Wilson, that's Dr. Watson, and where Holmes is addicted to heroin, House is addicted to Vicodin, and he's always about the little puzzles. And I really love the show because it shows what some doctors might actually be like and what some doctors should be like. You know, this guy is talking with his heart on his sleeve. Every time he walks into a room, he says everybody lies, and he's only interested in the disease, never in the patient itself. And he doesn't give a shit about rules and also personal relationships, but inside he's a damaged dude, and he's taking these drugs because they removed the thigh muscle from his leg, and he's in constant pain. Every single fucking day he's in pain, and that's why he has to take Vicodin, and that's also affecting his judgment and his brain, and also his personality, and that's just such a fascinating concept. And this show might have not worked with another actor. I think Hugh Laurie, who is actually from England. And of course, in the interviews, he's talking with a British accent, of course. And you know, in the show, he's just like faking the best American accent I have ever heard. You know, by someone who is not from the States. I was just really amazed by how good his American accent was. And yeah, the show, come on, just fucking watch Dr. House. Just watch the House MD. The show was great. You know, it ended, and of course there are the oddball episodes. I'll give it that. There was some weird stuff, especially like in season 6 or 7, I think. There was this whole thing about him hallucinating of, you know, this guy's dead wife. That was weird. But I'm not going to spoil anything. Also, this show ended well. It was a very well-crafted ending. Those were the shows of my past, of my present, and I've kind of noticed a trend that they are trying to rehash everything, because like these shows like Devious Mates, that's basically just Desperate Housewives 2.0. There's nothing original really about this stuff. You know, they once had weeds and it was interesting, so they kind of twitched it a little bit and they called it Breaking Bad. They kind of rehash everything. You know, we have Game of Thrones. Okay, that was a novel adaptation. But we also have Rome, and Rome triggered Spartacus, and Rome and Spartacus triggered Vikings, which is now coming. And it's all just, you know, it's the same shtick. Maybe it's well crafted, but I just want fresh ideas. Fresh ideas, come on. Big Bang Theory. Despite it not being my personal cup of tea, and I don't really watch it all the time, there was an original concept, and there was creative, and there was bold. And I like that. Of course, I haven't talked about The Simpsons because every person and their grandma talked about The Simpsons being original at first and they suck now. The movie killed it all, blah blah blah. It's true, 25 seasons. I think it's 25 seasons. Come on. The show is dead. Just leave it alone. The Simpsons have become a conveyor belt product a long time ago. And let's not talk about The Simpsons. Let's not talk about Family Guy or American Dad, because I hate Seth MacFarlane, I hate his humor. With Family Guy, it's just like, I can watch it for 2 or 5 minutes, but then it's getting obnoxious and I have to turn my head away and I have to switch the channel because otherwise I'm going to barf. There's just so much shit within Seth MacFarlane's humor that is, oh my god. What I enjoy were the Star Wars episodes from Family Guy. They were good because he's a guy, he really loves Star Wars, and you can tell from the way these episodes are written, crafted, edited. He just knows his shit. But other than that, this guy is a hack, and I don't like him. I just don't like him at all. Those were my thoughts on TV shows, past, present, and future. Let me know what you think about it. Put a comment below. You can subscribe. Of course, this is a German channel, and English videos are the exception to the rule. But I want to do them from time to time, and that's pretty much it. Enjoy your stay at the cinema or on your couch. I'm Trexation, I'm the film guy, and you've just watched or listened to a video of mine.